Jeff Koons made a name for himself as one of the most successful artists to emerge in the 1980s. Born in Pennsylvania and schooled at the Maryland Institute of Art, he arrived in New York City in 1976. He worked as a commodities broker to support himself while pursuing his art career. Experimenting with combinations of store-bought items, he drew notices for transforming such mundane objects as vacuum cleaners and basketballs into the realm of art. Over the last 2 decades, his exploration of the relationship between art, commerce, and culture in his work has invited both acclaim and some controversy. After keeping a relatively low profile in the New York art scene for much of the 1990s, he has recently emerged with Puppy. The 43-foot high sculpture is currently on display at Rockefeller Center. I am pleased to have Jeff Koons at this table. Welcome.
Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much. There are lots of things to talk about, and mainly we've got a whole lot of slides to show people transparencies about your work. Let's just start that this notion of transferring from art to, in a sense, consumer products, from your role as an artist of one painter to doing what you do with consumer products. What brought that about?
My father was an interior decorator, and I grew up around a lot of objects. And I would go into my father's store when I'd just be a child, and maybe one room would be set up as a living room, another room as a bedroom, another room as a kitchen. And I'd come back a week later, and everything would be changed. The room that now would be a library, one room, and another would be a different type of bedroom. But I learned that objects and colors, texture, can really affect your emotions. And so from that, I was always pulled to objects, just things in this world. I learned later on about Duchamp and other people involved in this, but it really comes from my my own past, that history.
And do you find who do you find kinship with other than Marcel Duchamp?
Picasso, Roy Lichtenstein,
Warhol,
Boucher, Fragonard. More contemporary artist, Martin Kippenberger, who passed away. Always loved his work. I'm really open to many different types of art.
Is there a consistent message that sort of runs through the things that we're going to see? Is there a common denominator?
Well, I think where I took the ready-made within my own work was really, getting more involved at the viewers, the ready-made.
Yeah,
and more about the relationship with the viewer, and maybe trying to deal as objectively as possible with my work.
Well, I'm getting at this point. Everybody has described it as everything from neo-pop to neo-minimalist. Mm-hmm. How would you describe it?
Well, I think it's pop, and I also think that my work is conceptual. I feel that the basic ideas behind my work are really about trying to make a work which is very non-judgmental, and something which really fights criticism and forms of segregation. Art can be a terrible segregator, and it's used as a segregator for power. Mm-hmm. And I think my work, it really, tries to fight that and oppose to that.
We're going to see a whole series of things here from the 80s right up to the 2000s. The first one is a new Hoover convertible. Speaking of vacuum cleaners, take a look at this and tell me what this is. Obviously, it's 1981 to 86 new Hoover convertibles.
In 1980, I started to encase vacuum cleaners, and I encased them for their newness. These are supposed to be virginal objects.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me that objects have their most integrity before they're used, when they're brand new.
Right.
And I realized that these are anthropomorphic. They relate to the individual, but an individual to have integrity really has to participate in life.
Okay, the next slide is One Ball Total, 1985.
After working with vacuum cleaners, I wanted to work with more a sense of a male side of consumerism.
Yeah.
At least images which the colors, and these were sports images, were more male-oriented. But this is a one-ball total equilibrium tank, and it's an ultimate state of being. It's like the womb.
Michael Jackson and Bubbles, 1988.
It's made out of porcelain,
right?
And porcelain was always at the service of the kings, so I wanted to make work that, of course, showed how so many things have become very democratized, because you can buy Capodimonte porcelain or any little porcelain object in different shops. But at the same time, it carries a very strong sexual energy to it, porcelain, because it's a material that shrinks in the oven.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Porcelain shrinks in the oven?
19%. So it has that tightness to it.
All right, next one is Pink Panther, 1988. Another porcelain.
Another banality.
Banality, right.
Banality also used these dislocated images. So this is the back side of Pink Panther.
Right.
It's like a pin-up girl, and she just has this large Pink Panther over her shoulder.
Our next one is Balloon Dog.
Balloon Dog, when it's finished. Now, that's not completed there. The collector who owns this work wanted to display it in his foundation, Eli Broad, in Los Angeles. So I agreed to, but now this piece has to go back and be completely polished, and then it gets a transparent color all over it.
You'll do that?
Yes.
Okay. Next one is Shelter.
This is a large painting from the Celebration series. It's an oil painting. The Celebration paintings tend to be like very large-scale paint by numbers. I wanted to create paintings that were a very objective experience for the public. If you're blending paint, mixing it, one person may feel that white stops here and, black would stop here, and the gray in between, it would be hard to say where the white and black stop. So everything's shaped like paint by numbers.
Next one is Cutout.
Cutout's another painting from the Easy Fun series.
Yeah.
It's a very provincial type image.
Next one, St. Benedict. Again, this one's 2000.
This is the last painting that I made.
This is the very last one?
Yes. Yeah. I completed that, I guess, roughly about a month ago.
This is Split Rocker?
Yeah, this is in the Papal Palace, Palais de Pope, in Avignon, France.
Right, been there.
And it's the last large work that I displayed. It's a floral piece, only the second one that I ever did.
You did this in 2000?
That's correct. Split Rocker is actually two halves of, like you would think of a rocking horse, and one side is a horse, a pony, and the other side's a dino. And it's two rocker heads that I put together. And so where the split is, it creates this very ephemeral type form. It's actually open there. You can walk in the piece in the back, walk out the front. Natural skylights. It invites the public in.
The next one is the famous Puppy. This is from Arelsen, Germany, 1992.
This is the first floral work that I ever made in 92.
The next one is Puppy at Rockefeller Center. This is what's created. Tell me about all this. I mean, because everybody knows you because of this, I think. Yeah. And when you walk down Fifth Avenue, and you get to about 50th or 51st, and you look to the right down to Rockefeller Center, and there you see your Puppy, what does Jeff feel?
I mean, I'm very happy. I mean, I'm very proud it's there. I feel you don't get a second chance at Rockefeller Center. I'm very, very proud, and I'm really happy that it's here. People come up to me, and they tell me, it brings a lot of joy to them, and it's so nice. And Charlie, actually, what happened to me is I walked down the street, and everybody really seems familiar to me, and I feel like I've met all these people before. And I know that I haven't. I don't go to a lot of events. But it's this communal experience of feeling like there's been a connection, there's been a communication, and it's been two-way. It's not just that they've seen my work, but it's that, there's been information also has been sent back to me. So it's very exciting for me.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. See you next time.